Let me tell you, if someone had told me that moving to a quiet Texas suburb would land me in the middle of a suburban crime saga, I'd have laughed in their face. But then again, I didn't know Karen Mitchell. 6 months ago, the only thing I knew about her was she wore enough vanilla perfume to make a coffee shop smell like a bakery and loved rules more than life itself. Now I know her bank account numbers, her ugly secrets, and why her smile could cut glass. All because she tried to make an example out of the wrong guy, a retired construction lawyer with nothing left to lose. So picture this, it's 6 a.m. a Tuesday morning and I'm standing in my doorway, coffee in hand, bathrobe tied, staring down two very confused police officers and one smug HOA queen with a clipboard. That coffee steam mixing with the smell of Karen's perfume should have tipped me off. This was about more than pool rules. This was about power, and she was gunning for mine. Before we get too far, let me ask, what would you do if your HOA president tried to use the cops to scare you straight? Yeah, that happened. Drop your worst story in the comments because trust me, I know I'm not alone here. Name's Dave Martinez, and last year I thought I was buying my ticket to Paradise Willowbrook Estates, picture-perfect lawns, a pool that sparkled like a diamond, and a price tag to match. After watching my wife Sarah fight cancer for years and finally losing her last fall, I sold the old place, retired from the law, and bought a corner lot for a fresh start. Didn't plan on drama, just coffee quiet and maybe some healing. That lasted, about 8 months. Things started to go sideways the day my nephew Miguel, smart kid headed for engineering school, came to spend the summer with me. He brought 2 friends for a pool day. Good kids, polite. But suddenly here comes Karen strutting poolside in tennis whites, binder in hand, vanilla perfume on full blast. "Excuse me," she boomed loud enough for everyone to look up from their pool floats. "I need to see guest passes for these young men. Never heard of guest passes in my life." I explained they were family. Miguel's my nephew, these are his friends, but she cut me off. "Rules are rules," she said, snapping that clipboard like she was laying down the law at the Supreme Court. Just like that, pool privileges for my address were suspended pending compliance review. You know what I mean? The whole poolside got quiet. No one wants to be Karen's next target. That night, my violation was posted in neon on the community board. The next HOA meeting, Karen made sure everyone knew how I'd failed the neighborhood. Sitting there in that stuffy room, old coffee in the air, watching her play judge and jury, I realized this wasn't about the pool. It was about putting the new guy in his place. But Karen picked the wrong rookie. See, I'd spent 20 years unraveling contractor fraud and shady deals. Now, with nothing but time, I decided to dust off some old skills. 3 days after Poolgate, I got an official notice, certified mail, even inviting me to a compliance hearing, and get this, Karen's dining room. It was set for Sarah's birthday, too, like salt in the wound. The letter listed my supposed offenses: trash cans visible, they weren't lawn height within the rules, and my favorite, failure to maintain community harmony through guest management. That's a new one. So I did what any lawyer worth his salt would do. I read the fine print. Buried on page 47 of the original HOA charter was a clause about reasonable accommodation for family gatherings. Karen's new rule directly violated the document she swore by. Even better, her hearing notice broke at least 3 rules: too little notice, no specifics scheduled during a family emergency. Thursday night, I walked into Karen's house, folder in hand, heart beating fast. Jim Walsh, the board president, looked like he'd rather be golfing. Maria Santos, the treasurer, took notes like she was prepping for court. Karen, of course, kicked things off with a PowerPoint seriously. Every third slide was a dig at certain residents. When she was done, I calmly laid out the facts. Her hearing was a sham, her policy didn't hold up, and according to the charter, I'd broken no rules. The room went dead quiet. Maria and Jim looked at each other. Karen's face turned red, but instead of backing down, she took a cheap shot about my difficulty adjusting after losing Sarah. That's when I knew she'd overplayed her hand. That night, I fired up my laptop and started digging HOA filings, property records, Karen's real estate deals. 2 a.m., and I had my first thread. Karen was the exclusive sales agent during Willowbrook's construction, a setup that usually comes with kickbacks. Next thing I know, Karen launches a neighborhood watch, basically 3 of her friends with clipboards snapping pictures and writing up violations. Suddenly, everyone's getting notices for Christmas lights in July or garden gnomes that exceed the 2 decoration limit. Me, I'm public enemy number 1. Daily drive-bys, photos of my house from every angle, warnings on my windshield. Miguel jokes Karen's stalking us, but I can see it's getting to him. The community was splitting, newer folks siding with Karen, the old guard grumbling quietly. Then Maria Santos, tiny but fierce, pulls me aside. "Dave," she whispers, "these finances don't add up." Turns out she'd been tracking irregularities for years, but needed help connecting the dots. So I installed cameras, logged Karen's every move, and started networking with Jim and Maria. Turns out plenty of families had stories like mine. Most just moved away to escape her. Then came the final straw. Miguel's graduation party, big family gathering, barbecue, laughter. Right in the middle, code enforcement shows up thanks to a complaint about unpermitted modifications and overcrowding. Karen, of course, pulls up to watch the show. But I'd saved every permit, every inspection. The city inspector, Bob, goes over everything, can't find a single violation, and actually tells Karen my house is one of the best built in the neighborhood. Miguel live streamed the whole thing, comments rolled in, people from all over chiming in, "Sue her, this lady's crazy." While all this was happening, I noticed something strange. The original plans for community amenities didn't match what had actually been built. Costs were off, dimensions didn't line up. Maria handed me more financials, a smoking gun. Turns out the HOA paid over $2 million for amenities that cost only $1.4 million to build. 700 grand just gone. And every transaction ran through Karen. She'd pocketed referral bonuses 4 times higher than normal. Emails revealed a secret profit-sharing deal with the developer, padded contracts and vendor kickbacks for everything from landscaping to pool maintenance. Now, I wasn't just fighting for pool rights. I was sitting on a mountain of evidence of systematic fraud. It was time to go on offense. With Maria and Jim, we built a team. Her accounting skills, his integrity, my legal know-how. We documented everything, inflated contracts, suspicious deposits, even Karen's social media posts bragging about keeping problematic residents in line. I hired a criminal defense attorney, Sarah Chen Sharp, as a tack to make sure we packaged our evidence the way prosecutors like it. She said, "This is gold, fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. She's in deep." We filed public records requests, set up a transparency campaign, and scheduled a special board meeting. I prepared a simple, bulletproof presentation charts showing how every household got fleeced, invoices proving the scam, Maria's paper trail tying it all together. When Karen caught wind, she panicked, rushed to call an emergency board meeting to remove disruptive residents. She even tried to bribe me in the parking lot, offering to help with my landscaping if I dropped my complaints. I recorded everything. When she threatened me, I recorded that too. The next morning, cops showed up at my door, but this time I had evidence, audio recordings that made the officers' faces go from skeptical to furious. They told Karen, "File another false report, and you'll be the one in cuffs." But Karen was in too deep. She tried to freeze HOA accounts, oust Maria and Jim, install her own people. Her playbook was obvious, and the tide was turning. Miguel's live streams went viral. Local news picked up the story. The community started asking questions, demanding accountability. Detective Chen opened a formal investigation. Subpoenas went out, and suddenly Karen's world was collapsing. Her real estate license under review, her husband's city council gig attracting unwanted scrutiny, her supporters abandoning ship as her lies unraveled. She even tried sabotaging my pool equipment. Security cameras caught everything. That's when the media attention blew the lid off. Homeowners all over the state started coming forward, and Willowbrook became ground zero for HOA reform. The final showdown happened in the school gym. 89 households showed up, media cameras everywhere. Karen tried to play the victim, but when I connected my laptop and projected the numbers, 700 grand missing contracts, inflated by 40% email admissions on screen, it was over. Residents gasped, people stood up to share their own stories, and by the end, even her lawyer couldn't help her. Detective Chen announced criminal charges right then and there: fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. Karen tried to bluster, but the crowd had seen enough. 6 months later, justice had a sweet taste. Karen pled guilty, made full restitution, lost her real estate license, and her husband resigned. The developer lost all city contracts. The money we recovered transformed our community, eliminated dues for years, funded playgrounds, built a scholarship in Sarah's name. Miguel was the first recipient. I never expected to find healing through a battle, but helping rebuild Willowbrook gave me a purpose I didn't know I still had. Now, every summer we throw a community pool party, and I get to watch neighbors laughing in the pool that started it all. Kids learning to swim, families sharing stories, no more fear, no more secrets, just a neighborhood that finally feels like home. You want to know what justice looks like? It's neighbors standing up, telling the truth, and refusing to let a bully run the show. So what's your HOA horror story? Drop it in the comments. I guarantee you're not alone. Maybe your story will help someone else stand up to corruption too. Don't let anyone tell you what you can't do, document everything, know your rights, and never let bullies win. And if you want more real-life David vs. Goliath stories, stick around. Sometimes the best revenge is just refusing to be quiet when you know the truth.